Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining the webinar on iVend add-on development part 2. My name is Agnish and I have my colleague Priya with me today.
Hello everyone.
We will be your host for today. I am also joined in today by the set of panelists who will help me in delivering the session and also answer your queries. Much as I would like to start the session now, let's give a couple of minutes for everyone to settle down and also for the people who are joining in. Just to inform everybody that today's session is in continuation to yesterday's session. So we will continue with the topics which we have left yesterday, and we will continue to see the samples which we have seen yesterday, the output, how it's going to look, how it is going to get compiled. And today we will cover a few more samples which covers the feature functionality of the add-on framework. So before we start, a few housekeeping item list again, like yesterday. For today's session, you can chat live with our panelists. You can also ask questions using ask question option. You can also use raise hand option to raise your hand, and we will unmute your line to ask the questions. As usual, in any case, we will have a question and answer session in the end of the webinar. And I will take the session forward in few moments. All right, I'll take the session forward now. So till yesterday we were able to cover point till iVend UI and business logic events and data management. Today I will continue further with packaging deployment, limitations, and few artifacts. Packaging and deployment. So just to recap, yesterday we have seen that how a new project should be created in Visual Studio and how do we link it to link few DLLs and inherit classes to make it an iVend add-on, and how do we override the events and the functionality of iVend application in our custom classes. And now, for example, if we are done with our code, writing our code lines for the desired functionality, now it comes, the next topic is that how do we package and deploy the add-on. So for that, now this screenshot explains that these are the settings which you should do at the project level. You should ensure that it should be in the debug mode initially, x86 platform, and you should take the build checkbox also. We would like to put the configuration under debug because initially when you write a line of code, you would like to debug and you would like to test your add-on application. So for that you need the settings this way. Right, Priya?
Right.
Okay.
So should we move to a live example where we'll show you how to package and deploy this, which will be more beneficial.
All right.
So moving to where we left yesterday. So if you remember, this was the sample add-on which we were talking about, where we were expecting an extra button panel on the screen here. So now my add-on is ready with the sample code where I have added 12 new buttons, the maximum 12 buttons in my button panel. So for that, I'm going to make some settings. As you saw in the screenshot, I have set it to debug. You can choose any platform, but we prefer x86. Just rebuild it. I have also added an info.txt file for your information purpose. In all the samples available on CKP, you will get that file where the prerequisites or the output or the desired functionality is explained for your reference. So now I am going to make build of this solution. We made some changes, right, yesterday?
Yeah.
So
you are missing, I think, a brace there. So if you can just put it. Now compile. Great. should build.
Of course.
Yeah.
So here have it. Unlike 6.4, you don't have any template, and so just have to have your DLL, your sample, your add-on DLL. As you can see, this is the DLL I'm going to use. There is this PDB file which you should have, that I'll recommend you to have for your debugging purpose. Just have it.
So you are
compress this.
You are making a zip file out
Yes.
of the newly compiled DLL, and you are adding the PDB also. I think for debugging purposes.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
For deploying, you'll go to Management Console. At your HO, like enterprise, go to IT Administration, Add-on Manager. So here is this, where you can configure your add-on. In 6.5, we have provided you a functionality to add store. Like if I'm going to add an add-on, where I have to provide the file path of my add-on zip file. Go to this, select the path, because I have already copied it, I'm going to paste. And this is the zip file.
This is the zip file which you have just created a minute back.
Right.
And now you choose this file.
As you can see, the add-on name I provided in the plugin class is here, the version I provided, and the description I gave. So it automatically picked up all the information related to this. If you notice this connect disconnect functionality, this is once you have configured it, but you don't want this add-on to run anymore for any purpose, you can simply disconnect it by using this tick box, or you can remove this using this remove add-on button. Okay, so next is add store functionality. So if I'm going to press OK and add this add-on, because this is my HO, it will automatically replicate to all the stores, all the retail landscape without any problem. But if I want my store 1 to get this add-on but not store 2 or not store 3 and 4, so I just have to simply use this add store specific functionality, where I'll add the store 1, connect and disconnect functionality here as well. So because I have put my add-on for this store only, this is my store 1 and not for any other stores, and if there are multiple stores existing, only the store 1 will get this add-on because I have made this configured like this.
So basically add-on can only be started or connected only on the desired stores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So you can have store specific add-on functionalities made available. I'm going to click OK, and it will ask for a restart
of the application.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is required for add-on to get registered.
So ideally now when you choose the zip file and you give the store list if you would like to give, and if you really don't want to give anything, then ideally then it will go to all the stores, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Then in that case, when the management console application restarts, what is happening behind the scene is it registers the add-on for first time on your head office, and then it starts the add-on immediately after that. And this means whatever you have written on in the plugin class in the start function, that part of the code will get executed for the first time.
Right.
So probably in your based on your business logic, you might have written some script to create some UDT UDF in the initial start phase.
Right.
So that will be done.
So in our sample, we have only written a message box on start.
Okay.
Or, so if my add-on is plugged correctly, I'll get a message that add-on started. Also, I'd like to mention one thing, because here you saw the store specific feature. So as I mentioned, if you are registering your add-on on HO, like enterprise, it will be replicated to all the stores. So it's possible that I have replicated it on all the stores, and one day I just think that my store 10 doesn't need this. So I'll go there and add stores 1 to 9, connect to that, but not include the store 10 in the add store section. But it doesn't make sense because it has already been replicated to all the stores. So this is one thing you have to keep in mind, because if you are initially configuring your add-on, you have to choose all the stores by, okay, I'll have to put everything. So can you see this start message we put on our add-on start? This is add-on started. This is a simple message box which shows that our add-on has been successfully registered.
Now the next customization what you have done here is in the vendor screen.
So we can see the output here
as well. So let's go new. Exactly.
Here it is. I have got my 12 buttons. The buttons are working
so now
as per the event handlers.
With this customization, you got the new panel. It is not necessary to create all the 12 buttons in one go. It's up to you how you would like to do it. How many buttons you need it. You can only enable those many.
Right.
All right. So
back to the PPT then.
So this is what is explained in the PPT, that you should have these settings for while compiling. Once it is compiled, just zip your PDB and the DLL output DLL in a zip file. Then choose the correct zip file from your release or debug folder, depend on in which phase you are currently in the add-on setup screen, as shown in the screenshot. Once the file is chosen, then you can choose the number of stores where you would like to run this. If you do not choose any store, then it will go to all the whole landscape, retail landscape, and then this add-on will be installed in all the stores.
Yes. Okay, one thing I would like to add to this, that while making the zip, I have added the DLL and the PDB file. One thing you have to keep in mind, that when you are creating add-ons for your point of sale, you might need to refer and add to your zip file this exe, CXS retail POS, because my functionalities, my other DLLs have dependencies on this. So you have to add this zip to your, have this exe to your zip file. So for POS, you have to keep it in mind. So moving on to the next, this is debugging iVend retail add-on. iVend retail add-on, as you saw, is a simple class library project which is being installed to the main application. So we'll have to debug it using the Visual Studio attached to process feature, where this application is running with the main application parallel, and we'll attach this to the management console or point of sale exe. I'll show you in a while how to do this and how it works. Although it's just a simple Visual Studio feature that is being provided. So here is this my debug point, and put a breakpoint.
Yeah.
Go to debug, attach to process, choose the relevant exe, because this add-on is working in this screen, is also working in management console. So I have chosen this process,
all right,
this exe, and attach. Just wait till all the symbols get loaded. It has clearly loaded. Okay, so can I see where I put it? On first, on click of my first custom button. This, I'm here. See, the control is here. I could have put my custom validations, a custom code, or which has decided to go nasty and make problems for my code, or throwing exceptions, and I want to debug a troubleshoot where it is behaving such stupid and making my code not work. So I can debug it. There is a simple message box which is not relevant for now, but you can simply debug it. So this is how iVend add-on is debugged. To cancel or stop debugging, stop it, and here it is.
Great. So this is how you do debugging. This is how you package and deploy the add-on.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are referring to any external exe or DLL, you need to include it as a resource in your embedded resource in your project. So that
Yes.
yeah, you can refer to that functionality while executing your add-on in the runtime. Okay, let's move forward. So we'll come to limitations later. Let's switch back, Priya, and let's go to the samples which we would like to cover today in the session.
So we have a list of samples on CKP, but these are few samples which cover basic functionalities, and most of you will have some queries about it. So we have decided to explain these today. First one is this customize existing screen, which I was also explaining in PPT yesterday, where we have customized an existing iVend screen. So this is my purchase order screen, which I'm going to customize, make changes in the UI. So this is UI changes basically. We learned how to identify this class from our APK SDK guide. Now I have chosen the purchase order view, as I told you how to decide the view. Click on OK and check
or
the caption.
Probably anywhere on the screen, probably any control will give you the same
but
view.
buttons have this functionality.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this sample add-on is I am on adding detail, that is the product. I'm making changes to the row. Can I show you this?
This
is
add-on
my
is
purchase
already
order.
installed?
It's not. I'm not showing the output. I'm showing you my requirement.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
This is what my client has asked me to do, and I'm so stuck how to do this. So iVend add-on is the solution for you. So what my client has said me is, I don't like this color, or I want this row height to be more, or any other thing. So we're going to customize this way. I have had this view, that is the screen name. I have got the control, the grid. This is the grid. So the horizontal grid.
The horizontal grid is here, m_grid view.
Right.
So similarly, all the controls in the screen are available like this.
Yes.
Can we simply check? Yeah.
This is my view.
Yeah.
I have initialized it. And you get all the controls as well. There are buttons.
Yeah.
You can make any button visible or change the names. The repositories. The button layout. And here is my grid. I have got the grid as a control, and this is the view related to this grid. I'm talking about horizontal dev express grid. The repositories. So you got all the controls and you can make changes to them. So this sample add-on covers this. Okay. Another thing I'm doing is this. If you see, I'm updating UDF values after product is added to PO. That is, I have made this UDF using the user-defined field functionality. Not able to see this name, but vendor catalog is the name. I want every time a product is added, some value to be updated in this UDF.
Great.
So I'm using this. I've got the purchase order detail object. As I told you, in add-on framework, you get events with two things. First is the sender, that is the screen which is invoking this event, and args contains the objects which can be used in this event.
So Priya, the point is that you are currently dealing with the purchase order screen.
Right.
If I go back to the screen, I can see that there is majorly it's a header detail kind of a screen.
Exactly.
So generally then this means on this screen I have two kind of object. One is the header, another is the detail of the main parent object, which is purchase order. Now if I go back and look at the function, what I can see is that in the second parameter for any function, then if I have detail event arguments, here I can see it is a combination of two objects. One is the purchase order, another is the purchase order detail.
Right.
So purchase order means here that this first detail event argument is my header, and the second one is my detail, which is the child item.
Right.
Right. How do we now? The point here is that if I need to refer to my parent, the purchase order header object, then I simply say args.item.
Because it's the first thing.
It's the first thing. It will always come as it. You can refer it to as args.item. Now, if you need to deal with the detail, which is the second child object, then you will say arg.child list.
Yes, because it's a list type, so here it is coming as child list. Okay. Otherwise, it will be a child item or a child list.
So either you will get a child list or a child item, but all the time when you need to refer to the detail object, you need to go by child list or child item.
Right.
And you can then typecast it and then use it as per your requirement.
Yes, because it's a list, I have typecasted in a list and I'm using it for my purpose. I am updating the UDF value
with
here
some,
like this.
Yeah, all right.
Yep. You can use your own changes.
So this is the explanation of arguments which come along with the overridable functions. This is how you refer to the data sets or the objects which are behind the scene attached to the controls on the GUI.
Yes. On view initialize, I have made changes to the main grid. I have put some event handlers for repositories. I have changed row height, row width. I can show you this output. Also, we'll cover the functionality when two add-ons are simultaneously working.
So one add-on you have already installed.
I have already
like
installed.
5 minutes back.
Yeah.
Now you are going to install this also side by side.
Okay.
So we will have two add-ons running parallelly.
Yes.
Right?
So we'll see the order in which the events get invoked. The first add-on also has the start event where we have written the message as
started.
Add-on started.
Add-on
the
started.
Message.
Okay.
In my second add-on, which I'm going to register now, is having a message started. So we can see
two different messages.
how it works. So we'll go to IT administration.
By now you have already compiled the second add-on in the Visual Studio. You are done there. And
I have to make this first.
Okay.
So I have.
Again, you are taking the DLL and the PDP, and you will.
It's a very good practice to keep the PDP for debug purpose.
For debug purposes, but when you are making the final delivery to the customer, then you do not
you
do not need to attach
right.
a PDP in your zip file.
So it's already there. I'm going to add this as well. So I'm here.
This is your second add-on zip file, and it came here. All right.
All the properties. I've connected it.
You can.
I'm not going to specify the store. It will automatically go to all the stores.
All right. All right. Let's run this sample also this way.
It will restart
the management console.
Yes. So we have to see in which order the add-ons get executed.
So ideally, if I can see in the grid that it will run your first add-on first, where we will get a message add-on started, and then your new add-on, which will give me another message, second message as started.
Right. So the add-ons get priority in order to their configuration, in the order they have been installed.
All right.
So we're waiting for the message box. The first add-on has.
Okay, clear. This is the second add-on message. Okay.
So my both add-ons are working. I want to see the output of my second one, which was my purchase order screen.
Yeah.
I was not liking that iVend view, so I have made
some changes.
This. It may not look good, but this is how I want it. I have also put a custom button, like in my first add-on. So here we are with this view. I can do anything. I have made this event handler for this click. I got repositories. I've changed. I need to put things first. Okay. Here you see I made
you got the control. Whenever you change the discount type, at least programmatically you got the control back in your add-on. You can then manipulate whatever you like.
Yes. Right? This is the repository, and I got the events of this repository as well.
Okay.
On add product, we have written
before add event. So you got the handler, and now you're choosing an item.
I have added on adding details. This is the event. On adding details, I changed the row height and color
and all that.
My wish. Also, my UDF got my value.
And you was able to set the value in your UDF at the line level.
Right. So I'm the boss of the screen, and I could do anything.
Hopefully, yes. Yeah.
Yes, I've got this power.
Okay.
So moving on to the next sample.
No, can you please show us the priority, how priority works in add-on execution? So if you go to Management Console in Add-on Manager.
Sure. This is how my two add-ons work.
Now switch the priority now. So I want to run my purchase order add-on first. Yeah. Okay. Now it is switched. So
use the up and down feature.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now if you press OK, I guess, and
okay, I've made changes, so I'll have to restart this. We'll see if our message box is shuffled.
So now ideally what I should get, the first message box stating started, and the second message box should say add-on started. Right? Why this prioritization is important? For example, if any end customer retailer is running two add-ons, and both the add-ons deal with the same object, let's say purchase order, and customization is written in both the add-on codes. Now, based on the feature functionality of the add-on, you can decide which add-on should run first so that you get the desired output. So that is the case where this prioritization works.
We are with the correct message box. The second one, which was in past, is now first. It is started.
So it is switched. All right.
Started.
All right. So prioritization is also clear.
Yes.
Debugging is clear. Packaging deployment is clear. We have seen output. How do you modify the existing iVend screen? How do you refer to the existing GUI control repositories? You are able to get the events for that. You handled the events for the grid. You was able to modify the GUI of the grid. You was able to set the value inside one of the UDF which is on the grid. You was able to add a new custom buttons on the system grids. Okay, great. Now let's move on to the other sample.
Okay, so here I'm going to explain the important samples which you can use for most of your requirements. Now, I have this one, which says for management console events. These are how I have to override the events of customer module base. We have got multiple of events. I have only subscribed to few.
So the point is, in this sample, if you notice, there are so many class files. If you read the name of the class files, it says very clearly that in management console, like on customer, on gift certificates, on good issue, good receipts, good receipt PO. So if you download this sample from CKP, you will be, and if you have any requirement on these screens of management console, you can simply use these sample to extend your business logic based on your requirements.
Yes, it can be an easy way of determining the exact class you need to implement from and the references as well. So this is for my customer. I have got the customer view, that is the customer added screen.
So if you notice that for customer using statement, you do not need to worry about what class you need to inherit. You do not need to worry about how many override basic functions are available. It's already here explained.
Awesome.
And arg argument is already there. So things are pretty well defined for you, and from here on you can start developing your add-on with your desired functionality.
Yes. So I am covering so many screens: the warehouse screen, store, stock transfer, shipment, request, purchase order, which was earlier as well, replenishment, product view, product added screen. This is the product added screen. Pause creation screen, goods return, good receipt, GRPO, gift certificate, and customer, and so many. This is covering almost 16, 17 screens.
Great.
Okay. So it can be great start for all the screens available in management console. There are modules you have to use, the DLL, and then the exact class name.
And moreover, if you have any further requirement on management console, as I said even yesterday, you just need to refer to the help file, the dev guide, and refer to this section in the guide which says using data interface, introduction, events, management console, and then you can refer to any of the defined class here which tells you very clearly what is the assembly you need to refer to and what all events and functions are available for you to override. So I think this explains very well what you can do in the management console, and this is a big time enhancement from 6.4 to 6.5 version of iVend. So now let's move on to the other sample, Priya, I think, which was related to pause.
Yes. Because we are only covering management console for now. So here is the sample for point of sale. So pause event sample add-on is the sample you can subscribe to, refer to for major of the things our pause does.
So pretty clear.
Pretty clear about the references. You can get a complete idea, platform and platform.ui, retail.ui, view model, business logic, and CXS retail pause exe, which you have to refer for many of the classes related to transaction. So I'm going to explain few of these classes which are of use. The most important class is this transaction entry, which is I'm implementing from transaction entry module base. So for pause, you have to keep in mind one thing, that this is the namespace you have to use. This is under CXS Retail Extensibility. The module is transaction. It has all the classes you have to implement from.
Or you would like to.
Yeah. Or you would like to, right, for using point of sale extensibility. So transaction entry module base is this. This is my transaction entry view, and this comes under transaction entry module base. I want to make changes in the screen. Suppose in this grid, though in 6.5 for now you have got limited access to this screen, but in 6.5.2 and coming versions you have got so many.
So I think even in the current version also, which is 6.5 update one, you can put in your attributes in the grid. So that functionality is already there in the current version.
Yeah. So you can show or hide columns to transaction entry screen. Though you can do it from management console, but with the limited columns available, here you get a complete list of columns. You can show and hide this way. You get the transaction object on most of these events. You can see you get it this way, or the transaction payment object, transaction item object. These are the objects which you can use for your purpose. If you can see this event on after adding transaction item, which is when I have added a product. So suppose for my for some reasons I want to give a discount or I give a happy day to my customers. I want this item to get added. I want another item to get added to this free with this item. So I can do this simply using my add-on. I have on this event.
So the point is that if you're scanning an item on iVend POS, and while scanning an item, if you identify a particular item, then you would like to put in one free item, some other free item automatically to the grid. How do you do that? You need to capture on after adding transaction item event, and then this is the piece of code which will help you. Could you please explain this, Priya? So if we uncomment this and right now.
Right. So the idea is that I can make changes in the current transaction. I'm getting my current transaction from args.item. I have casted this to my transaction
object.
Right. Also, I get the inventory item. Because I'm taking only the first product. I have just taken it for example.
So this is basically your free item which you would like to give. So if you know what is the code of your free item, you create an inventory item object out of it. Once it is created, what you need to do is that
create a sale
item because your transaction object is going to take only the sale item. It doesn't take the inventory item. The inventory item is nothing but the product master. So you need to create a sellable item out of your inventory item object. This is the line of code which you need to write, which will create a sellable item for you. Once it is there, and then you can implement your logic. That's purely up to you. So for sample purposes, what we have done, if we are looking at, if you add any items, transaction count item is less than 5, then we would like to add a free item to your grid this way, and we will give you a message also that the product is added, and this is it. This is the sample code.
If you see below, I have also made changes in the surcharge.
So let me just comment this code again because we are not executing this for timing, and then now let's move forward. Yeah, Priya.
Yes, because I am getting the transaction object and the transaction item object, I can make changes to the surcharge as well.
Oh,
if you want to, for any particular item, you want to change the surcharge or add another extra charge, you can simply refer to this snippet.
So what you have done here is that you made an object of a surcharge. You have initialized that, set the amount to 25. So you can put any programmatic value here. And then you have identified to which item you would like to apply this new surcharge. So you can use transaction logic instance add surcharge method. You pass your transaction item, the line item, and the surcharge object. So it will be done. And then simply recalculate the transaction. And then this will be applied. The document totals are already updated with this. So this happens in a flip of a second. And then this is how programmatically you add a surcharge to a line item.
transaction logic is the class which we use for most of the transaction related changes or events. Uh, it has got methods for most of the things a transaction can have. Recalculate transaction is the method which will recalculate this, and if you don't use this method, it's possible that it's not visible on the UI, but once it's used, it will update the values on UI as well. So here I am also modifying the tax. I have created a new tax code altogether. You can have it from created at MC and load it here, but now I am creating my own new tax code. So I have defined this and committed this. I'm adding the tax code detail to the above created tax code and committing this and attaching this to my tax code. So now my new tax code is altogether created. You can create it at pause as well. I'm defining the period for which my tax code will be applicable.
So the point is you are actually creating the complete text master by yourself.
Right.
Probably it is not required in most of the cases. So what you can do is, if you know what new tax code you need to apply, you simply need to load that tax code into the object. Once it is identified what new tax code programmatically you want to put in, you simply apply. So there is a function available, change tax code, in the transaction logic. You pass in your the desired line item object and the new tax code object, and recalculate the transaction. This way you change the tax code on the line item. Correct?
Right.
All right. So this is good. This way you can so this depicts that you can handle the quantity, price, tax code, surcharges. You can add new item. You can delete any item from the transaction grid. You can do so many things with the POS transaction grid programmatically now. So this is good example which shows you how you can deal with your requirements when it comes to POS transaction grid.
Right. So here we explain how you can make changes in the transaction object. Payment class is where you can make changes to the payment object. You can
okay, next sample is then next class. So if you notice here in this particular project, if you notice, there are so many classes and which explains different functionality what can be achieved on POS. I think the next example Priya would like to take is the payment, right? Payment is something which generally people deal with. They manipulate on POS screen, right, via add-on. Okay. Right. Now
consider an example where I want my customers to encourage paying by cash and not credit card, say.
Okay.
So before I move on to selection of payment type, I want my discount to get be $20 or say 20% of the complete payment. So I can make changes to that. So once I have selected the payment type, I can apply my desired discount or add any surcharge. Okay, so this way you can change the payment object, which is already linked to my transaction. My transaction will complete using this changed values. So you can add your custom logics, your requirements.
So on click of some custom button, I can even add a payment programmatically, right?
Right.
Okay.
So here you get the payment object and the transaction object as well. So you can make changes to transaction payment. Okay, these are the multiple events. You also get the functionality as I explained in management console. We can add custom buttons. In point of sale also, we get multiple of screens where you can put custom buttons. This is another example of this. I am adding two new custom buttons and have written click handles for these custom buttons. So I get the payment view and the payment detail entry view. You can get the view name this way,
Okay.
like earlier in management console. So pause event sample add-on is the sample which covers most of the functionalities of all the screens available on point of sale.
So the point is the way we have done it in management console, that you go to the screen. If you, Priya, could you please go to the pause screen? So the way in management console, you right click on the button and you come to know what is the view name for this screen. Similarly, in the pause screen also, wherever you are, either on the transaction grid or on the payment screen, or even further inside,
like
you simply need to right click on the button and a screen will pop up. You just need to copy the view name, and that's the view name which you need to handle in your add-on code. This is how you write code for the pause customizations. Now, Priya, if you could please go back to the project. Now, if you notice in the payment screen, what Priya has done is she has added two buttons for the two custom button on the payment view, transaction payment screen. And now these are the handlers which she has written. She wrote specific functionality on these two custom button clicks. You will also notice she wrote code in the on globalize, which is an overridable function. So if you need some globalized text for your system button or your custom button, you can write your piece of code here, right? Similarly, there are already different events and the functions available which are overridable. In this sample, you see that we have a message box opening up on these events. So it will help you in identifying the right event where you want to code. Now, for example, on one of the predefined function for on after payment type selection. So whenever the payment time is selection, then once the iVend action is done, then on after event. Now here Priya wrote a sample code, right? So similarly, you can code this way, and then so and so forth. She also wrote code on before of add payment. So you might open a new custom screen and take some further values, additional values before even choosing the payment type. So this is the example, how do you deal with the payment and the transaction. Similarly, in this sample project which is available on CKP, we have a lot of class file which clearly states where they belong to, and you will find the sample code inside these class files.
Yeah.
Right?
Like management console, you can also add custom screen in point of sale, and base pause custom view is the class you have to inherit from.
All right. So if you have any requirement to create a custom class, or rather custom screen in the point of sale, then what you can do is you simply add a Windows screen or
you
rather
have to add a user control
rather.
Right.
You add the user control in your project. Once it is added, you need to ensure that you always inherit from base pause custom view class, which is available in CSX Retail UI component.
It's available in CSX Retail Pause EXE.
CSX Retail Pause EXE, and it should be inherited from there. So the class complete namespace and the class name is visible here.
Yes.
Once you inherit from there, and then on, it's your custom screen.
You can change the header title and make the buttons visible.
So can you please show us the GUI of this user control?
On point of sale custom screens, you get the printer, MSR and barcode events. You can subscribe to that as well.
So this is the sample, how it is available, right? I guess then once you do this, and then you should compile this. Can you show us this output while installing? Yeah, we can install this add-on on pause and see how it's going to work. Let's see how the output looks like. Okay, this is some custom screen with the grid and the button, and since you inherit from the base class, you will always get the header, this bar, the color, and the middle area, and the So this is your grid area and your bottom 12 buttons. So this is the default view which you will always get if you inherit from base pause custom view class. This is what you get all the time. Now let's see if we can see this output somehow.
Sure. Let's make a zip file of it and we'll configure to show you the output.
Okay, something is missing. Printing. You do not need it, right? Then this rebuild. Okay, let's see if it rebuilds this time. Yeah, done. Now you will add the pause exe also in your zip file, right?
Right. So I'm going to take these three things.
So whenever you have any pause customization in your add-on, please remember you have to add CS6 retail pause exe also inside your zip file. That's a part of your deliverable then.
Right. Because it has a dependency.
It is basically referenced inside your code, so add-on application needs it. And it really doesn't matter whether you are referring a exe or a DLL in your project. Behind the scene for the .NET framework, it's just an assembly. Be it a DLL or exe, it really doesn't matter.
We'll have to restart our point of sale.
MC also first, so that you can register the...
MC, I have registered it.
Oh, you're done. Oh, it's restarted.
So, also point of sale has to be restarted for the output to be available.
Just to reiterate, the help file, the SDK help file is very important, very important to understand what options are available, what can be done, and your suggestions are welcome. Please contact us for any further information on CKP, forum, via email, any way you like.
This is the message box I put on my sample.
Yeah. These are from your previous add-ons, all right?
So this is my pause add-on, okay? The one I have recently installed because it has so many
customizations. Yeah.
Well. So the custom screen should be...
You need to check from where you are opening the screen. I think from some menu.
Now because I've changed some things, okay?
I can see that you have two attributes column.
Yeah.
And value two attribute column added to your transaction grid programmatically. Okay. Other than the standard fields.
Yes, I also renamed them.
Yeah, like FC total and FC other name.
You can do this in your plugin class. This is my plugin class. So if you see in transaction grid, I have renamed this two attributes. The original caption was attribute 1, which is by default in the grid. I have made changes to this.
All right.
Okay. So moving on to the next sample, you can refer to custom screen sample for MC, which has a complete altogether new screens built for your reference, which are to be used in management console, just like MC-like screens. Here is this search screen and the add edit view. Also, I have provided a MC menu item, on click of which the custom search screen will open up and the corresponding add edit view will open. Another sample add-on I have is for pause user menus. These are my user menus. I have all these user menus. I have got events for all these events, all these menus. So on cache drawer 1 or anything, for now I have.
Do you want to continue now?
Okay. So this is the sample for this. Moving on to the presentation.
Okay, all right. So all these samples are available on CKP and you can always download them, and they will be available even after this webinar to you in the URL. Now, we need to talk about few limitations of add-on framework as well. So add-on application can only customize management console and terminal POS. So this means it will not customize your mobile POS, e-commerce, integration, replication, handheld, and other services and component of iVend Retail Suite. Now, add-on execution cannot be configured to run per user or per user group. It will run for all the users in the store. And restructuring of POS screen is not possible. However, it is possible via different mechanism in the upcoming versions of iVend. Custom button panel on POS screen on all the screens is not possible, but wherever it is possible, it is already mentioned in the help guide.
Basically, this is talking about the main first screen.
Yeah, so on the main transaction grid, you cannot have 12 buttons in the bottom, because for any custom functionality, you always have access to the, you can create a new custom menu. So that can be achieved from there. So there is no requirement actually for the custom button panel on the main transaction grid. However, if you move inside, you can create custom buttons. Now, search criteria and the result in the search screens cannot be controlled as of now. That if you would like to add a column to the search grid, or if you would like to manipulate the search results, or if you would like to increase the criteria of the search screens, currently it is not possible. So team is currently working on that. Transaction mode programmatically cannot be changed in the iVend Retail. So mode means you are in a sale, refund, layaway mode, that mode. Customization of POS customer display is not possible. However,
in upcoming grids it's possible.
Yeah, you can add attribute column in the grid, but then if you would like to change the layout of the POS customer display, that's not possible. But then there is a workaround available that you can create your own customer display, and that can be popped up at any given point in time. You cannot customize the till management. So team is currently working on to exposing more functions so that till management should be very easy, and if you need to develop an add-on on top of till management functionality, should be possible in the near future. Now, while installing and configuring offline POS, now this is important, that now with iVend 6.5 we have a feature of offline POS. Now it creates the table containing specific table structure and sync only those tables which are synchronized with the store database when connection established. So this means the structure of your online POS and offline POS is same. Let's say there are 500 tables. So the structure is same, but the data synchronization between these tables are specific for so many tables only. So now in add-on applications, you always have an access to execute a SQL query. You always need to keep in your mind that if you're writing a SQL query, you need to ensure that the data from that SQL query should come in the offline and online both modes, depending on your business need. So point is this, yeah. And yeah.
Because not all the tables are being available in the offline POS. So
tables are available, but then the data might not get synced between offline and online. So data structure is there, but you might not get the data in offline POS. Okay. Few artifacts, as I explained also yesterday, that knowledge portal landing page, guide, samples in CKP, and there is a web-based guide also available, so the URL will be available from this PPT for you, or if you can straight away go to iVend.com and you'll be able to locate guide, help guide from the main menu. And that's it, I guess, for today. And now forum is now open for the related questions. Anybody who has question, please raise your hand and leave the question in the chat window. All right, so with this, I am concluding today's session and looking forward to the same participation in our next subsequent sessions as well. For more information, there are other channels available like support, forum on CityAccess Knowledge Portal, and so on. Or you can directly contact us at marketing@cityaccess.com also. Thank you everyone and have a nice day.
thank you.